The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Welcome to NBusiness with Terrell Shepard. Yours truly, once again, glad to be here for another week, another great segment. Of course, all things sports, all things business. Of course, I'm here this week with two tremendous hosts and two tremendous, I should say, guests. They might be hosts. They might take over my show. I don't know. Kelvin Williams, how you doing?
I'm all right, sir. How about yourself?
Fantastic. And, of course, my man, Warren Doe.
Yes, sir.
Good. They are here with us. Of course, we're going to be talking about the grind of sports. We're going to be talking about what it takes, that word grind, what it takes for us to be in the game, what it takes for you to get to where you want to get to. And then they're also going to come from different perspectives of not only getting to the professional level, but then what it takes then to stay there, what you have to do if it doesn't work out, all those type of things. We're going to get into this abbreviated segment. Again, I'm coming to you a little late today. Had a couple of meetings that we're trying to get to, but we're glad to be here. And of course, we talked about, of course, right here in the Washington, D.C. area, we're talking about the Washington Nationals, all things Nats right now.
Yes,
go Nats, we're up 2-0.
Yes, sir.
12-3. We were able to take care of your St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, man.
You know, I don't think I didn't want to bring that out. That my man from St. Louis.
Hey.
But and now it looks like we're trying to get to them Astros down in Houston, 2-0 down in Houston. Of course, some news you all might not have heard about. Got to listen to my show, of course, to hear that. We have a situation where a tweet came out from umpire. I wanted to make sure that I got this correct. The umpire, Rob Drake, who referenced this entire issue that's dealing with the impeachment. Of course, sometimes sports and politics will come in, and he made the tweet. So I want to make sure I get it right. He says in his tweet, he did take it down, "I'll be buying an AR-15 tomorrow because if you impeach my president, this way you will have another civil war, MAGA 2020. So again, in the midst of all of this, we're dealing with the impact of Donald Trump and sports. Of course, we had that issue dealing with when the players started taking a knee. Remember, Donald Trump came out on the trail talking about if those SOBs are taking a knee, that they should be fired. Remember that? So now, once again, in the news, of course, if you've not been looking at the news, been somewhere, you know Donald Trump is going through the issue, and you know the Congress is putting the pieces together to try to do this impeachment inquiry. In particular, impeachment is on, and so you see the debate between politics and sports. That even in the midst of you all talking about all that we're going to talk about to the grind, we still got within this country a divide and debate on that. And on our show, unlike some other sports shows, because this isn't ESPN, this isn't Fox Sports, this isn't some other shows, Terrell Shepard being the host, I get to take a position. I get to take a position on, it's my show. I can take a position I want to take on. Of course, I've been on the record saying that based upon if you put somebody that's unqualified in any position.
Absolutely.
So we talk about sports. Absolutely. What happens to people who go into unqualified in sports? They get fired. Right? You put people in a position who don't know what they're doing, or put people in a position who are going to use the position for their own, advantage and not for the advantage of the team. They normally get fired. Donald Trump should know this. He had a show called The Apprentice. His famous line was, "You're fired." Okay? So if you don't know what you're doing, if you can't come up to the job and do what you have to do, you should be fired. Of course, on my show, I made it very clear. My position, if you put somebody, forget your political positions for a second, but you put somebody who don't know what they're doing, man, has no political experience, he's not been in government, doesn't understand. So it doesn't shock me that he's on the phone talking to the president of Ukraine as if he's doing some real estate deal. That's what he does. Quid pro quo. That's what he does in real estate, right? You do this for me, I'm going to do this for you. Right? You go get some information on Biden, I'm going to give you this money.
That's it.
That's what he used to doing. So is it a shock for anybody that's shocked that Donald Trump takes the position of, I'm going to use a quid pro quo as the way I do business?
Wow.
Is it shock that he says, I'm going to leverage up the country for me to do business? That's what he's been doing for 40 years. Yeah. So what do you expect him to do? Now you go put him as president of the United States. And then you were shocked. Wow, I wonder, is Donald Trump out there doing stuff on the edge, doing stuff, pushing the limits, could be legal or illegal? What do you do to succeed in business? You have to walk right up to the line. Yeah. You have to push the envelope. If you go, name me a successful business person that hasn't pushed the envelope.
Okay, now wait.
Name me one successful sports person that has not pushed the envelope to get to the next level.
Sir. Can't.
I mean, we can sit and have. So that's why I wouldn't vote. Somebody asked me, would you vote for yourself to be president? No, because I got to push the line in my business.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't vote for no athlete to be president because it's a fine line between taking PEDs.
Right.
Am I right? 100%. You two, we're gonna get into that, right?
Hey, absolutely.
You all have dealt with people who've taken steroids. PED, have you not?
Absolutely.
And somebody who's doing it right up to the line legal. Tell me, is that line not thin or not? It's a very thin line. And so this idea that you have somebody that I think people are missing, that's been his background. That's been what he's doing. So, but of course, we got, once again, an umpire, a person sitting out there, should again, apparently everybody thinks, I don't know what we've gotten to, and I'm going to get to the grind. I don't know what we've gotten to. Y'all can help me answer this. And by the way, you all can obviously give us a call, 301-429-9247, 301-429-9247. You can get us right here on social media, on Facebook. You can get me on my own personal Facebook page, Terrell Shepard, by all means. Give us a call. Get us on Facebook. Get us on Twitter. We got all these handles. You see them out there on the Facebook. But I want to get into this just a little bit. I know we're going to get into the grind a little bit. What is it about Twitter that people are understanding that they have to use this as we're now? You being a millennial,
sure.
Talk to me about because by the way, these are non-millennials that are doing this.
Right.
So we're gonna talk about this more. It's people my age.
Yep.
I have no idea. I know this thing can be addictive. Talk to me about why people are using Twitter as their official statements.
Well, when it comes to it, it's really a different world, as it is right now with the emergence of social media and everything. Everybody has a voice. So right now we live in a very social climate. The culture is a bit different. Mm-hmm. Everything is very sensitive, so to speak.
Okay.
So when you go into those things and you speak about social media, the climate on social media is not very political, to be exact. Now, granted, with that being said, we do have politicians and other people of power who are using that platform to portray their voice, but they're not fully understanding that is a public forum. Mm-hmm. So when you say that publicly, that's your opinion. So when that comes out like that, it's going to be perceived the way that it's said, not how it was meant to be said, not how you felt in the morning. If it was 1:30 in the morning, you felt like you needed to get something off your chest, probably should text a friend or something.
Right.
But think about doing those things before you go and put something out in national media and for everyone to see, because that's going to be a stark reflection of yourself and your opinion. So when it comes down to that, social media does give everyone a voice, but it's really important to understand how you're using that voice.
I mean, we've had this conversation, Warren. We talked about this with Antonio Brown.
Oh, absolutely.
With the tweeting scenario. And the opportunity of everyone using this platform as a way, and I get it. I understand free speech, and I understand this. But if you're out on the social sphere tweeting, or in my opinion, communicating your political view as an umpire. Now, the last I checked, umpires, just the umpire is supposed to be impartial.
Yeah.
It's tantamount to saying this: I don't like black people, but I'm going to umpire the game tomorrow night in Washington D.C. And so me and black folk don't get along too well. What? Why would you say that on what are you doing? Tripping. That don't make no sense to me.
Yes, sir.
To sit up and act as if you are as if somehow supporting Donald Trump in a World Series playoff game means what from an economic standpoint? What does it mean from nothing? How could this help you in any way? How could having a conversation about impeachment, this is what I'm trying to get people who talk about this lifestyle management. How can this help you? It can't. Antonio Brown is sitting home because he decided that the people following him on Twitter was more important than a $30 million guarantee. See, I don't understand that. Yeah. I don't understand the logic behind that. You're telling me that somebody on Twitter, I decided to tweet. I lost my job in Pittsburgh. I traded. I went to the Oakland Raiders. Yeah. And then I went to the New England Patriots. And in all three instances, social media was driving me. Whether it was filming the coach talking in the training room, whether it was, his
voicemail,
tweeting. I'm thinking to myself, what is the addiction here? If you were telling me you was addicted to drugs, I can get it.
Right. Sure.
It's crack cocaine. All right, I got it. It's a chemical. And by the way, obviously, I'm on social media. Sure. I'm on Facebook doing this show. Right. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I mean, I just don't understand this addiction. That's where it is. So I know that I might do an entire show. I think I'm about to seriously. I'm gonna do an entire show on sports and social media. Absolutely. We're gonna come back and do that, Kel. Absolutely. An entire show. I'm gonna commit to do that. 301-429-9247. You want to get us 301-429-9247. I want to talk about these two gentlemen. That's why they're here. First, I want to talk about Warren Doze. This guy has DMV Basketball Academy. Yes, I wanted to get into a little bit about the grind of sport. We use this term grind.
Absolutely.
Grind. You hear everybody talking about grinding. What I want people to understand, because it's a principle that we use in business often. Man, I got to be on my grind. I got to blah, blah, blah. I don't think people really understand what grinding is.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think they really understand. I don't think, and kind of piggybacking off social media a little bit, I don't think people really understand what it takes. When you say, I want to be a professional basketball player or a professional football player, we're going to get to that. What the grind that it takes. So I want you to give them the abbreviated version, because of our time here. I know we could talk all day about it, but just kind of your experience being a 3 sports stars, you said, as you were, Absolutely. 3 star in high school. Yeah. What that took. And the mindset then to get to, particularly as your background, as you went to basketball and gravitated to that, and that approach to get to that level, and then what you saw is both the challenges and some of the, what it took from that standpoint. So just give them kind of my audience just get an overview of that kind of aspect.
Well, from the high school standpoint, if we can just go back to there before it started. One, if I got my homework done, right, we wouldn't be talking right now.
Exactly.
I look at it.
Okay.
So that was my problem in school.
Which is a grind.
High school is a grind, and the kids that I tutor today and mentor today, I make it the very first thing that I say. If you can't do your homework, or if you can't have an AB, GPA, or whatever it is, don't come to me because I'm going to send you home. You can't come out and work out at my facility if your grades are bad. I'm just not doing it.
Right.
I've been there. I've done it. I've been blessed to come through it.
Right.
But that's just not something that I'm willing to do.
So the grind starts even at high school, just getting your homework.
It starts there. You got to start there. You got to start with a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And in any program, high school, college, you have to be eligible in the classroom in order to be eligible on the field.
Absolutely.
And that becomes an interesting grind because for your average student, or I play sports in high school, for your average student, what most people don't realize, that means that you have to practice at a high level.
Absolutely.
And then after that, most people, you just go out there to the gym. Me coming from the gym, I don't want to do nothing. Seriously.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to do no work. I don't want to see nothing. I don't even want to. I just want to come to the gym. I normally work out. I don't want to do nothing.
Right.
Like I want to go home and go to sleep.
Right. But what makes you great is not what you do while you at practice.
Right.
With the coaches. It's what you do once you leave practice.
Okay.
So what grind are you putting in after you leave? Are you getting your push-ups in? Are you going to get that extra jumper up?
Sir.
Are you going to get in that extra defensive stance? You know, are you going to get the training that's needed to help you develop to get to that next level?
So even after practice, for
After
both of you all, you're talking about you go, and I think I want to hear it. So think about that in the context. So I go to practice for 2 hours.
Yes.
Right? And then you're telling me, go get homework.
Go get your homework.
And do that for another 2 hours, whatever. And then you're telling me, go back then to figure out what else I need to do
Absolutely.
that I did in practice.
Absolutely.
And I got to do that once a week?
No, you got to do that every day.
That's every day.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, and you got to commit to it, absolutely, because it's early mornings to late evenings. You know, he spoke a lot about the high school track. As far as college goes, you know, those practices start 5:30 in the morning.
Woo.
2 hours class. After that, homework. Sometimes you have a late night workout.
That's it.
And then you have to find time to again do homework. So in order to perform on the field, again, you have to be eligible in the classroom to be eligible on the field. So if you don't take care of those things, if you don't find the time to take care of those things, and we all have the same 24 hours.
Right.
But if you don't find the time to take care of those things, then it's not the atmosphere for you.
So the grind is just to do and that's just, you're talking about, this is the grind that everybody has to do just to be in the game.
Absolutely.
Now, what does it take then to excel? And I'm sure, and the same thing, because again, Warren, you did basketball track. Kelvin, you did the football track. What does it then take to then even get, and when you all both had a chance to see at the pro level what they have to do?
Oh, yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about, because I think sometimes on shows we talk about sports and we come from a fan standpoint of view. So and so good. Now you've been saying this all the time. So and so good. So and so not good. My philosophy has always been this: if you're playing at the next level, you got to be pretty doggone good if you're in the pros.
Absolutely.
So just tell my audience, what does it take from the standpoint of when you're watching what they are doing at the pro level from a basketball standpoint? Let me get to you from a football standpoint. Sure. From a basketball standpoint, the grind, they all went through the same grind in high school. They all went through the same grind in college, those who did. And now they're at the pro level. What happens to them to be at the pro level to grind?
Well, it's not always the best player that's going to be the pro.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay, that's good.
Right. Because you have guys that it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Okay.
And we're still experiencing that now through this basketball thing that we're doing here, that I'm doing here, the third part of my life or whatever it is. So, relationships. Let's start back over. The relationships that you have in high school, if you were a-hole in high school, and now you here, that guy that you was an a-hole to now is the GM.
Yeah.
Or maybe the owner of the organization.
Yes,
okay. So now you could have the talent and still not make it at the pro level, because everybody had to grind.
Everybody had to grind.
Everybody had to grind. Everybody got talent.
That's it.
So at the pro level, and I think you can experience this. You talked about this, Kelvin. I know to me off air more about that grind when you got to the pro level and trying out and all that. Talk about that aspect of it, how you kind of had to deal with that from the standpoint of, now I'm at the pro level. I'm talking to this, I'm on this team. I'm trying to make this team. And it might not be enough slots.
Absolutely. So my path was a bit unique, obviously, coming from a D3 school, Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri.
Yep.
Being able to find that outlet to reach out to in order to make your dream come true is a lot harder than it is at a D1 program like a Alabama or a Oregon or a Clemson or something like that. The scouts are coming because they know the talent's there. But when you're in the middle of Missouri, in a rural town in Missouri, it's a lot harder to find that talent.
Right.
And one saying a lot of people says, if you got the talent, they'll find you. Yeah. But that is another grind in its own. So, reaching out, agents don't just show up to practice. Scouts don't show up to practice at D3 level. Once you're at that level, if you excel and that's what you want to do, then you have to go out and find that on your own. So reaching out, finding your resources, speaking to your coaches, figuring out where and when to be in order to put yourself in the best position is what's most important. So because you had to even go, you even had to go through the process of making your own tape. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know? So there's no media team.
Yeah, there's no media team.
No.
That's right.
So what I would do
You
is
might
I
need
would,
to go back and be the media guy.
Right,
You know?
right.
I'm available, you know.
Right.
So, but you know, so I will go and get the game film from my coach. I load it into my computer, use some software on my computer, put together my own, cutting my clips together, putting those together myself, add a little music over the top, and I'm sending that out to all of the NFL teams, CFL teams, AFL teams, everybody out there. You know, being able to afford myself that position, because again, coming from where I'm coming from, I'm well aware of where I am. There's no naivety to what's going on with me. You know, coming from a D3 level, I know. I look in the stands, I see a lot of wood, some seats, and the press box. No scouts.
Right.
No coaches, no owners, none of that. So I have to go and grind and get that. So that's the extra grind on top of that.
So that's what I wanted to talk about, because I think that's important, because and Kelvin said something that I thought was so interesting. And by the way, you can definitely call in 301-429-9247 if you're listening in on this segment. The opportunity, you had to go out and create and make the opportunity just to be seen.
Yes, sir.
And that becomes something in the focus of whether, and I'm sure that whether you talk about basketball or football, whether you talk about basketball as well. If you're at a certain, you have to. There could very well be a Zion Williamson in basketball at the at the D3 level.
Oh, absolutely.
But for them to know who that is, you're gonna have to take a whole different path.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
You know, you got to go through that whole aspect, and you got to have a conversation to even get to that point. So there's a grind, as I said, that is not universal to everybody.
Absolutely.
Zion Williamson had to grind and be talented and go through in the 2-a-days and the 3-a-days and all that stuff. But he knew at high school, I'm going 1 year to Duke, and I'm going to the next level.
Yes, sir.
He knew that.
That's it.
And I always tell people, if you just look at the Duke team, Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, those were the two names people talked about.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
and Radish was the third one.
and Radish was the third one. But out of those three, there are 9 people that's on the basketball team, am I right?
No, you get 12 to 15.
Okay, 12 to 15. Okay, so let's go. That's even helps my case even better.
Yes, sir.
So at 12 to 15 people on the team, we talked about 3. So I always like to say, what does the number 10 guy on Duke do?
Hey, you got
Practice player.
And by the way, he's at Duke.
Yeah, he's at Duke.
That's it.
He's a practice player.
He's at Duke University.
Sir.
He's playing with Zion Williamson. That's why I'm saying the difference. But he got to go to the. Doesn't he go to the same practices?
Same practice.
He got to wake up the same time. Go to Zion does.
Same
He got to go to the same practices. You know, he eat lunch at the same time. He come back. They in the same dorm rooms. They could be. The difference between success and failure, from a business standpoint and from a sport. That's why I love sports and business. Is so thin.
That's it.
Because you could be doing the exact same thing in the same place with the exact person. One person's going to make $50 million. One guy's going to have to figure out if he's going to be working at Burger King.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And the thing with Duke, though, you got to think that 10th man on the bench was a 4 or 5 star athlete.
He was. That's what I'm
He could be
saying.
starting somebody in someone else's D1 school, starting,
Starting.
and his path could be totally different.
Could be. But my point is, that's the whole point. And I'm not saying that he's not going to become a great coach or this, or maybe even get into it as a player.
Sure.
All I'm saying and suggesting is that thin, when we talk about the word grind,
That's it.
I think people think we both woke up, we both got started, we both hit the weight room, we both doing this, and grind and talent. And I always tell people, when you have the same grind, it comes down to talent and connections.
That's
sir.
it. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
You got to now be connected.
That's it.
And the same thing in business. You can have the same grind. It comes down to business, it comes down to talent and connections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talent and connections become the difference between a person making millions of dollars and a person who might barely make it or might go out, might wash out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you two have had the chance to get to the highest level to see that. And when we get back, we're going to talk about the change that you all did. You know, now you're at this pinnacle, and now I'm wanting to fulfill my dream. That didn't work. You know, I was the 13th man, right?
Right.
Not the 12th man.
Yes, sir.
I was the 54th man,
Yes, sir.
not the 52nd man.
Right. Absolutely.
That's why I didn't make the team. There's a 55th person,
Yeah.
which means that if the team had 55 slots, you could be on it.
Yes, sir.
But they only got 53.
Right.
I'm just using that, right?
Yep.
They only got 53, and I'm the 55th guy.
Right.
I'm out.
I'm out.
That doesn't mean, it's not, I would rather be the 80th person. I tell people all the time, if I lose, I like to be the 80th person. That's why I knew I ain't have a chance.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, I ain't have a daggone chance. Don't tell me I was the 55th person. because the 55th person and the 70th person both got to make the same decision.
Yes, sir.
They both got to make the same decision.
Yeah.
I'm not on the team. What's that show? ESPN had this show called Undrafted.
Yeah.
That was on the air, right? Remember that show? I think it still comes on, Undrafted, in the spring. And they go through this whole, they really talk about the 55th person.
That's it.
They talk about the guy who is the walk-on, who has to, whether in college or particularly in the pros, and I was undrafted, and somebody got to get hurt.
That's it.
And then somebody got to have my phone number.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Somebody got to get hurt, and somebody got to have my phone number. And then even when I get in, I got to play well enough to get the job and then somehow sustain myself.
That's it.
So the opportunity is extremely elusive. And I'm going to talk back on the other side of this break. And we're going to take this break. I want to just talk for just a few minutes how you can kind of be in the position that when that deal is over, because there must be some depression that takes place to kind of get to the next level. How you transition out of that in the regular life. Back on the other side of In Business with Terrell Shepard. Again, you can give us a call. You want to talk to these two gentlemen, Kevin Williams, Warren Does, 301-429-9247, 301-429-9247. Again, this is In Business with Terrell Shepard. All things sports, all things business. Back on the other side of this break.
Hello, my name's Amanda. I want to tell you about the #1 online insurance quoting site the industry has to offer today. This one-of-a-kind site allows you to get the most competitive quotes on life, health, home, and auto insurance. No more going from site to site or agent to agent to find the best quotes. We offer the best quotes in one place on one site. Unlike other insurance quoting sites that provide some computer automated voice system or customer service agents sitting in a call center to assist you, we are a full-service national independent insurance agency that will offer you personalized service through one of our local agents to meet all your insurance needs. Insurance Direct 123. We are making buying insurance easy again. For more information, go to our website, www.insurancedirect123.com, or call 1-866-481-0732.
Welcome to In Business with Terrell Shepard. Glad to be back again on another segment of All Things Sports, All Things Business. We're talking about the grind of business, what it takes to grind of sports, really, and what it takes to do that. These two gentlemen, Kelvin Williams, Warren Does, both have been there. They've gone through that grind. They've gotten to the point. They've made it to that pinnacle of the professional component, and then they had to make some adjustments. So I'm going to talk to them a little bit in terms of you now getting to that point of having to leave your dream. Because we talk about the dream, you got there, you had it in your hand. Now you got to make an adjustment. How from a mental standpoint of view, how do you begin to make that adjustment?
Well, for myself, it was a little easier than most.
Okay.
For the simple fact, when I was able to get out and go out to the NBA Summer League and do some things back in the day, right before we got to that point, they made cuts before you got to the elite level there. And once they let me go, they didn't call my name. I had other coaches from other teams and players from other teams coming up to me like, "Oh, heck no. They ain't let you go. Right. Nah, that's not you. I was doing it." So I felt good about myself at that time. Mm-hmm. So I went out there without an agent. Mm-hmm. A buddy of mine said, "Hey man, Warren, I'm going out to this thing, man. Here's fill it out." So I filled it out, and they accepted me. Cool, I'm going out here to ball out. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get me a job. So without an agent, went out there, I balled out, did a great thing. After they didn't accept me, Came back home, got an agent out of Florida, out of New York first, and then he wasn't doing anything for me.
Okay.
Just sitting on it. So then I got another agent, Mike Gons, never forget his name, out of Florida, and he started helping me out. Okay, well let's try this path. Let's see if we can get you on another team.
Okay.
And then I ended up playing on the Verich Reps, which is a traveling basketball team, and we went and played all the major colleges around the country.
Okay.
And I went out there and I bust their butt. So I'm like, dang, I'm coming from a D2 school, but now I'm playing D2, D1 basketball players.
Right.
And I'm busting their butt. I'm like, of course I always knew I was a D1 player, but I just happened to be playing.
Yep.
It was NAIA back then.
Okay.
Not even D2.
Yep.
It was NAIA. So when I got to that point, I was like, I'm doing this. So after that, I had a chance to actually go to Columbus Horizon. I think it was CBA team. I think Columbus Horizon. But they had a point guard, Baker, that played at Ohio State. And it came up to who you know. He played at Ohio State. This team was in Columbus. So are you going to take somebody that's from D.C. or somebody that's going to bring in a draw and bring in a lot of people?
Right.
So they decided to keep him.
Okay.
So at that point, I came back home. My agent said, have you ever thought about going to grad school? I said, nah. And that's when the light clicked. I'll just go to grad school. And that was it. I was done. I was cool because I know I had played at the top level. I played against some great players. I didn't want to waste my time going overseas at that time because I was really unfamiliar with it.
Okay.
And I've always heard those stories about going over there and not getting paid. The same story that you hear today were back then.
Okay.
Not getting paid 2 or 3 months down the line. You're still waiting for a check. So I didn't want to go through that. So I just ended up going to grad school, and I was satisfied with my career.
Okay, good.
I was good.
Good.
So I'm a little different from the normal person that had to go through that, and and just the pain and struggle and things, trying to find out what you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a little different.
That's perfect. Kelvin?
Yeah, so as I said before, coming from a small school, Westminster College, I did have some success at Westminster. Honestly speaking, I went there more for the academic side than I did for the athletic side. But as any athlete to say, you don't make the schedule. Right. So whoever's in front of you, as long as you perform, you do your thing. Yeah. So 3 years out of there, I was a 3-time NIC All-American. I definitely handled some business there, all-conference 3 years as well. And from there, obviously coming from a D3 school, again, having to go and look for those resources, I reached out to a couple of friends of mine, and father of a NFL player was actually a friend of one of my football coaches. So he had the opportunity to represent me at a pro day. I performed very well at the pro day. I was top 10 in a lot of the measurables and things of that sort. Okay. But when it comes down to those numbers, that 40 number, that vertical, that broad jump, it can be a few numbers off. And they'll just be like, we don't think it's going to be a good fit. Now, granted, me coming from a D3 level as well, everything had to be spectacular. Yes. And not having that kind of information, not having that kind of training available to me was definitely difficult. So having to reach out, I reached out to the track coach to learn how to run a 40 better. I reached out to the track coach and the basketball coach to get my vertical up. So it's really about that networking, and that's something that stuck with me to this day. So going from that, I had an opportunity to do some training with the St. Louis Rams out in 2012. That was great. Obviously didn't make the team. So from there, the grind doesn't stop again. So again, going the route that he went as well, I had the opportunity to play with some amateur football leagues in Missouri. Okay. I played with the Missouri Cyclones, which is a pretty dominant team in Missouri, and then I had a chance to play 2 years with the Midwest Chargers as well, which is a team that we won 2 league championships. It's a great opportunity. Had a lot of fun with that. That camaraderie, that team building is still there. Even if it's not at the professional level, it's still there. Now, 2 years into my tenure as an amateur football player, I had the opportunity to try out for some arena football teams. So the first team that I played with was a local team by the name of the St. Louis Attack. We played in the X League, which is a league that was out there as well. And the first year of the league, we actually made it to the league championship. Fortunately, we didn't complete the championship. That was the goal.
What position did you play?
I played defensive back and return specialist. Yes, sir. So we didn't get the championship then. I did stretch that into a 3-year career in the arena football as well. So that was a great opportunity. But during that process, again, my process was a bit different as well. As I was playing amateur football, I had the opportunity to complete my graduate degree. So I got my master's.
Both of y'all did kind of the same deal in that arena, right? And both of y'all was able to kind of be in a position to do that. I think that what you all just said, and I know because of our time, what you all just said, I think is significant. Both of you all took a track that said this. You all both had a game plan, what it sounds like to me, and that it included, hey, an educational aspect to this whole component of it, that I'm going to utilize another tool in my toolbox. And I think when we're talking about, which again, when you talk about the grind, now we're talking about the grind of life. And so when we're having the same component, I think I want to bring this segment. We'll have enough time the next time we get together that we'll really delve into this whole area, the grind of life, the opportunity it takes for us to be able to take the tools that we have, the talents that we have. So you all obviously had the ability to pivot and transition and say, you know what, I played at the highest level. I know your degree was in sports management, so you had a chance to do that. I know your degree did technology, and you was able to go into the technology field for a number of years. So the ability to pivot, I think, becomes tremendous as we begin to help athletes in today's era.
Absolutely.
As we begin to help them to begin to transition, because one of the things we got to understand is you can get and do your dream deal, but your dream might not become the reality that you want. For a number of reasons. As you just talked about politics, the 55th man, the relationship might not be there. Number of things could happen. So we want to be in the opportunity as we talk about this. That's a principle in life. Even though you might not have reached your goal or did what you wanted to do, the grind that it still takes you to get to where you want to get to is still, and it might be another path that God leads you to get to where you want to get to. So in either of those scenarios, you still got to, quote, grind. Because sometimes what happens is we don't reach our goal, we don't get our dream, I should say, not a goal, we don't get our dream, and we stop grinding.
Absolutely.
What we have to realize is the goal for us is to grind. So until next week, until we'll come back, we'll have another great segment. Hopefully with these two gentlemen, we'll come back and talk with us. Kelvin, thank you so much for coming in. Warren, thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate you.
We'll definitely try to have an opportunity again for them to come back. You'll hear their stories, hear more of what they can bring to the table in terms of business and helping them to be able, the principles that we have. Again, here at NBusiness with Terrell Shepard, all things sports, all things business. Again, reach us next week, Thursday from 1 to 2. Look forward to seeing you. Until then, God bless.